Hey, it's Sri here. In today's video, I'm going to talk you through two really important steps you need to make sure you take if your husband has just cheated on you. Now, before we dive in, I know that being on the receiving end of infidelity is extremely painful, and not to mention the pain, but also these feelings of helplessness, despair, depression, complete uncertainty of what's going to happen in the future. Like, I totally get it. But I also want you to know that, there is hope, that things absolutely can get easier. And I know at the moment it probably doesn't feel that way, but I promise you that if you take some really important steps on this journey, just like some of my clients like Angie and Laurie and Rochelle and Sarah and all these beautiful women who have created such amazing shifts, it started off with their own healing first. That was a really important part of the journey. So make sure you stick around to the very end of this video where I'm going to talk you through the steps you need to take just so you can maximize your chances of being able to not only save your marriage, but really create that healing that you're looking for. And make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell notification as well, so every week you get access to my latest videos where I talk you through aspects of male psychology when it comes to marriages, understanding how to heal from infidelity, and really how to create those shifts on the inside so that you can move forward, whether that's staying in your marriage or walking away in a very empowered way. Now, I get it. Going through infidelity is so painful because ultimately what it does is it brings up our deepest wounds, which is that we're not good enough, that we're not lovable, and it brings up huge feelings of rejection and ultimately survival based wounds as well, because if you're someone that has been somewhat dependent on your husband from a financial point of view or just emotionally, etc., then there's going to be parts of you that are sitting there just feeling like your whole life has been uprooted. In addition to that, you're probably feeling really, really sad for your children and worried about the impact that it's going to have on them and so on. So I get it. I know how tough it is. I speak to women every single day who are in a similar position. So I am here to help you though. And I think one of the things that's really important in my eyes is that in order to be able to move forward, we do need to understand a little bit more about the circumstances at hand. And what I mean by that is that when you're in a highly emotional place, it's very difficult to really have a grasp of what's actually going on. What are the circumstances that we're dealing with? How did it get to this current situation? How did it get to a point where he was going off and cheating on you? You might be having thoughts such as, did I contribute to this? How is it that he just gone off with me? I thought we were doing great, and then suddenly he goes and acts in this particular way. It's really, really tough to navigate. But that's the reason why I shot this video, because I wanted to really talk about a couple of really important steps that I know a lot of people don't really want to explore, but I think it's really important to explore. And to be honest, probably the most important factors and steps that you need to take in order to be able to move forward from your situation. Because my goal with all of you is to really make sure that you're able to move forward in a really graceful way. Now, whether that's staying in the marriage or whether that's walking away, it's about making sure that you make the best decisions for you and your family. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk you through two really important steps that you need to take in order to be able to move forward. Now, the first step is to take a really good look over the years in terms of the actual marriage and your husband in particular, as far as his behavior and him as a person is concerned. You see, when we've been with someone for a long time, there is this what we call third world that is ultimately created. So you've got your own individual world, he's got his own individual world. Together, those worlds collide and ultimately create a third world. Now, only you two understand that world. But one of the things is that for women especially, when they have this third world that's been created, throughout centuries, women would take care of the community. They would take care of the family and make sure everything was sorted and everything was taken care of. And men would go off and hunt and make sure that the right food and all of that stuff was supplied to ensure the survival of the family. So equally, both really important roles. But for a woman in a marriage, you see, there is this third world that's created, there is this family that's been created, there are kids, etc. All of these things that are really important as part of the family dynamic. They're going to want to hold on to that as much as possible. Whereas a lot of men, when they're under stress, want freedom. They want to get out of that environment. And so you have this contrasting approach, which is the female wanting to hold on to it, the male wanting to get away from it if there's pressure. Now, what's going to happen is because of the desire to hold on to that environment, often what occurs is that the female will look at behaviors that aren't necessarily ideal, but provide justifications for it. Or just kind of overlook it, because if she was to look at it, if she was to explore it, and she realized that this may not be the right marriage, for example, then immediately that uproots that life, and that sense of safety is no longer there anymore. So therefore, over time, what happens is those behaviors tend to get pushed to the side, and then it takes a cataclysmic event like cheating or him saying, I want a divorce, something to really allow you to take a look at those things that maybe should have been looked at in the past. Now, that's in no way a criticism. Obviously, every scenario is very different. But as a generic rule, which is what I observe through my work, I see these patterns occurring a lot. So that is why that in this moment, if you have discovered that he has been cheating on you, this is actually an opportune time to actually look back on the marriage. Take some time to explore it. And yes, there's going to be an initial grieving component, because the old marriage that you had, which may have had moments of love and happiness and joy and all of those good emotions, that marriage is almost gone now. And that doesn't mean that it's over. What it means is that marriage is over, and it's about trying to start something new, should you want to move forward with him in the future. But we've got to almost put that stuff to bed. But to do that, in order to move forward, we've got to take some time to actually understand what's actually happened in the past. Were there signs? Were there red flags? Were there consistent behaviors that were occurring over a long period of time that you sort of dismissed and you overlooked? Now, this is not about looking back and going, oh, I really messed up and it's my fault and I should have walked away, or I should have done this, or I should have done that. Not at all. This is about understanding and accepting what is. And when we get to a place of understanding and acceptance, we're then able to make better decisions for the future. And look, believe me, I know, I get it. Like, I've looked at the past in lots of areas of my life, and you know, the initial reaction sometimes is, oh my God, I can't believe I did that, and what was I thinking? And it's easy to fall into that blame mode, but this is not about blame. This is about responsibility and acceptance. And once you understand and you have acceptance, you're able to then move forward and make the best decisions that you possibly can. You know, some of my clients will often look back and go, actually, I saw these behaviors, but I understand why now, and I know that he's actually a really good man, but he's just had some challenges in the past, and moving forward, I want to put my time and energy into him, even if there has been infidelity, and that's totally cool. But I also believe that in some instances, when you're dealing with narcissists, sociopaths, these sorts of individuals, it can be really difficult to just change them and create a whole different environment, because it is psychological traits that they've been using for a long, long time. Often what will happen is they will move towards individuals who don't necessarily at that time have the strength to be able to set boundaries and so on as well. And so you've got to be really careful about these things, and you've got to understand the kind of people that you're actually dealing with. Now, I know this sounds quite dramatic, and the reality is there is such a large spectrum. There's a huge range when it comes to personalities of individuals. But if you take the time to actually explore what's happened in the past and observe if there were any red flags, it really helps you to understand the kind of individual that you're dealing with, to accept the sort of behaviors, even though it's going to be tough, but it's going to allow you to make the best decisions moving forward. And that to me is really, really key. Now, the key component here is that when you're going through that process, you then need to apply step 2, which is about shifting your emotions. Emotions are everything. We have to recognize this. You see, if I'm feeling really flat and down, and I need to, go into a job interview, and my shoulders are drooping, my head's down, my tonality is really slow, my facial muscles are potentially quite tense as well. Am I going to make the best decision? Am I going to say the right things? Of course not. There's no way. Because emotionally, I'm in a very flat or down place. Whereas if I go into a job interview and I have complete confidence, and I know without any shadow of a doubt that I can answer any question that comes my way, am I going to make better decisions? Is my physiology going to actually represent that? Is my tonality going to represent? Of course, because everything that I do is an energy exchange with someone else whenever it comes to another individual. So they're going to pick up on how I feel. And it's the same thing in your marriage. You see, when we're always flat, when we're down, we've got no energy, when we're feeling sad, depressed all the time, then that has impacts. And it has impacts in terms of how you feel naturally, which then impacts the decisions that you make, which then impacts the type of communication that you engage in with, whether it be your spouse or whether it be your kids. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be that. And I think, unfortunately, we sort of live in a culture where we tend to, if we're feeling down, that we tend to get a lot of people coming to us and be like, oh, it's okay, and I get it, and I'm so sorry you're having to go through it. And what happens is, and this is in no way a judgment because I've done this a million times myself, but it becomes a bit of a drug. That's what we look for. We want people to have empathy for us. We want people to sit there and console us and, you know, allow us to feel almost validated for what we feel. Now, just to be clear here, I'm in no way saying that if you're going and spending time with friends and they're supporting you and things, that's a bad thing. Absolutely not. It's all about the degree to which it's happening. If we're finding that it's always happening, if you're always doing it, if you find yourself getting into that pattern over and over and over, but you're not actually doing anything about changing your situation or improving it, then all you're doing is effectively indulging in those emotions. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of you that might be triggered by what I'm saying here at the moment, but please know that I'm always coming from a place of love, and my mission here is to try and end the suffering as much as you possibly can. This is not about keeping patterns running that aren't serving you anymore. This is about saying, how can I make the best decisions for myself moving forward? Now, naturally, if you've just been cheated on, there's going to be a period of time where you're going to feel sad, you're going to feel hurt, you're going to need the support, you're going to want to vent, you're going to feel angry, all of that stuff. It's totally okay in the initial stages. But we have to ask ourselves, how long are we doing this for? Has there been an extended period of time? Am I continuously doing it, month on month on month? Or is it just little pockets here and there? And if it's little pockets, that's okay. If it's consistently, if that's your pattern, and you've noticed that it's not just your pattern in this area of your life, but it's your pattern when you are in your work environment, when you're with your kids, when you're in other areas of your life as well. If you're really honest with yourself, you need to then say, all right, well, maybe it's time for me to create some changes here. Now, as I said before, when you are in a beautiful space emotionally, it's going to give you the clarity that you need. It simply is the way. So how do we do that? How do we create those shifts emotionally? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of steps that you can apply right now. And you really want to take action here. You don't want to just defer this and push it on. Really take the action here. Now, the first step is to actually create a shift in your body language. So the question is when you are actually feeling down and depressed, what happens to your body? And the chances are your shoulder's going to droop. Your facial muscles are going to tighten up. You're going to look down. Okay, those are the initial reactions. Those are universal responses. So if I immediately just shift my body language a little bit, I immediately look up, then I instantaneously create a shift in how I feel. Just by shifting my body language. And there's a lot of biochemistry, a lot of science that backs this up as well, which I won't go into here in this video, but it's really important to do this. It's a really powerful strategy to do. And you need to hold it. Don't just sit there and go like this, oh, this doesn't work, and then give up. Really make sure that you get your shoulder back a little bit. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. Get your head looking forward. And then also, you want to change your tonality. You see, if I'm always talking like this, and I'm just feeling really down, then that's going to make me feel that way. Whereas if I'm up like this, and I decide, all right, I'm going to speak up in a better tone, I'm going to have more energy about me, then I'm going to feel naturally better. I mean, how many of you feel so much better after you've actually gone and had a workout? You've really pushed the energy out because your body is moving and you're able to get your physiology going again. So really start to change that physiology. Now that's the first part. You want to change your physiology, and then you want to change your tonality in terms of how you speak. Then from there, what we want to do is ask ourselves, two questions. One, what is the gift in this situation? Now, you're going to look at me and say, well, how is there any gift in this? My husband's cheated on me. He's uprooted my life completely. I get it. I understand that you're going to sit there and believe that. And in this moment, it may feel absolutely true. But I want you to recognize this, that diamonds are formed under pressure. We always grow in the most extreme of circumstances, and we have to remember that. You know, there are countless people throughout history that have created massive shifts as a result of the most extreme pain. You know, you think of people like Viktor Frankl, who was a survivor in the Auschwitz concentration camps during the Nazi regime. How on earth could he find meaning in the worst atrocities that there probably has ever been? How was he able to do that? Emmanuel Ilibagiza, a woman that survived in being in a bathroom with 7 other people during the genocide in Rwanda, and was able to find healing and find her spiritual connection and so on after that, while her family got massacred. How do you find meaning in that? And this is why I'm going to challenge you that if people like them can do that, we all have the capacity to do it on some level. And I challenge you today to really take the time and go, what is the gift in all of this? I promise you that if I was to speak to you in 10 years' time, you'll look back, and if you've used the right mindset, you'll discover that there was an actual purpose behind all of this, that there was a gift in all of it. And I really want you to recognize that. And if any of you have already recognized, you know what the gift is in your situation, write it in the comments below, and I'll love to hear from you all. Just make sure that you understand that there is always a gift in it. So that's the first thing. What is the gift in the situation you're in? Secondly, what am I going to choose to focus on? In any situation, I could go into it and I could focus on the negative, or I could focus on the positive. What am I going to focus on? Is this going to feel like it's the complete end of everything? That my life is uprooted, that I'm going to go nowhere? Or am I going to see this as an opportunity to say, you know what? Yes, this is extremely tough. And yes, I'm scared. And yes, I am worried about what may happen. But you know what? I've got courage, and I know that I can move forward, and I'm going to find every ounce of my strength to recognize that there is a gift in this, and that I can actually move forward and create the best life that I possibly can. And for some of you, it may be that, you know, maybe you've been a stay-at-home mum for 20 years and you felt like you've lost your identity completely, and now this is an opportunity to create a new identity. Maybe you've had a dream or some sort of career ambition that's been put on hold for a long time, and now's the opportunity to do that. Maybe your marriage has been less than ideal for a long time. This is an opportunity to create something new with that person, or potentially move forward with someone else. Maybe it's an opportunity to look at how you can grow and become the best version of yourself, and to find that inner strength, to realize you have more strength than you could possibly fathom. There is so much positivity that can come out of these situations. And as I said, I get it. In those moments, you don't want to think about it. And I've been there so many times, it's not even funny. That's why I really know that this stuff works, if you can really embrace it. Now, you know, sometimes dealing with those emotions and processing them and so on, it can be really, really challenging. And, you know, I think that's where having some sort of structure and some support in place can be really beneficial. And so if you're in a position where you're, you know, struggling to do this on your own, you're not sure what to do, that, you know, you use some of these steps, but you're feeling like you just need a little bit more and you want to go a little bit deeper to really get to that next level and experience some of the shifts that some of my amazing clients have had over the years, then I'd love to be of service to you through my Authentic Relationship System training program, which is an amazing program where we go deep. We create shifts at an emotional level so that you naturally start to feel happier and joyful, and it almost becomes your center of gravity rather than feeling like you are normally in this, you know, really down, depressed state, and every now and then you might get a little bit happier and then you go back down, and that's never a nice place. It's almost like you're in this lovely place, and every now and then you might go down a fraction, you go back up, and then you have this lovely, beautiful, happy moment, you go back down, and you're in just a beautiful, content, peaceful place over time. But where you have the tools and the strategies to be able to manage the difficult times in life, because they still come, and it is normal to have those. So if you are in a place where you're needing that support, then I'd love to be of service to you. All you need to do is in the description section below, just click on that link which says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I'll contact you at that scheduled time, just so I can learn a little bit more about where you're at now, where you want to get to, and how you can bridge that gap in the shortest possible time. It's It's an amazing program. I can't wait to be of service to you. So once again, just click on that link and then I'll contact you at the scheduled time. I can't wait to speak to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, make sure you hit that like button below. If you want to get more videos like that, hit that subscribe button. And do let me know what your biggest takeaway is from this video as well. I always love hearing the comments and the questions, so make sure you just write them below in the comments and I will respond to every single one of you. If you want to learn how to get your husband to love you again, click this video above. If you want to learn how to deal with mixed messages from your husband, click this video above. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.